few weeks ago I watched a video by Atlas Pro titled How Old Is This Atlas?, in which he tries to determine the age of an atlas using only the information inside. It was fascinating watching him use his expertise in geography to determine its age. And I wanted to try something similar with something that I'm knowledgeable in. I don't think I have an expertise on anything, but I do think I have a decent bit of knowledge on birds and ornithology. So here's an old bird guide published by Golden Press that maybe we can work together to try to figure out what year it was published. Opening it up, we can see a list of other guides published by Golden Press, as well as a list of people who helped make the guide. The first thing that stood out to me was on page 18, where you can see a young man taking a picture of a Steller's jay. And I'm sure there are tons of people who can tell me the age of this book just by the young man's clothing or his hairstyle or the camera he's using. Just the next page over gives us a glimpse into the world of bird banding, and I'm not knowledgeable on this process, but I'm sure there are tons of hints hidden within this short paragraph. Just 2 pages over and we start the actual guide with page 21, the common loon. On page 36 we get probably the most helpful hint in the entire guide with its description of a common snipe. When the bird was first discovered, it was named a Wilson snipe after the man who discovered it, Alexander Wilson. Its name was changed to common snipe only 11 years before the publishing of this book to be a conspecific with the common snipe of the Old World. The name was changed once again 44 years after the publishing of this book back to Wilson snipe, as evidence had shown that the two species were distinct enough from one another, meaning this book could have only been published within a 55-year gap when the species was named the common snipe. Funnily enough, its name will be changed again, as in 2023 it was announced that all birds named after people would need to have their names changed.
Living in marshes and wet fields, as well as spruce bogs and tundra in summer. On its winter range, it is less secretive. Flushed from the marsh, it makes off in rapid flight, either direct or in a zigzag pattern, looking long-billed. In early summer, the snipe may be more conspicuous, perching on fence posts or the tops of small trees to call.
Flipping over to page 45, we get another helpful hint. Any North American birder can tell you that that is an American kestrel, yet this guide labels it as a sparrowhawk. This was due to a mistake in connection with the Eurasian sparrowhawk in the genus Accipitor. The mistake was only noticed and fixed 24 years after the publishing of this book.
The sparrowhawk is one of the smallest hawks.
On page 63 we get a look at the yellow shafted flicker, which 14 years after the publishing of this book would just become a subspecies of the northern flicker, along with the red shafted flicker and the gilded flicker, which actually became a full species again in the 1980s.
Variable, found in 3 distinct forms that were once considered separate species. All can be recognized as flickers by the overall brown look, spotted underparts, white rump, and flash of color under the wings and tail in flight.
Page 100 starts our look into the warblers of America. But one of these 3 is not like the others. The myrtle warbler became an unfortunate victim of the formerly common case of a subspecies being misidentified as a full species. This was changed 14 years after the publishing of this book, and today the myrtle warbler is one of the many, many subspecies of yellow-rumped warbler. Over on page 118 we get a look at the rufous-sided towhee, which today doesn't exist at all. This was the name given to the eastern towhee and spotted towhee back when the two were thought to be the same species. Nowadays the two species have split and populate the eastern and western US respectively. This change happened 39 years after the publication of this book. On the very next page, 119, we get another example of this happening, with the brown towhee, which was the California towhee, and the canyon towhee. This change happened 30 years after the publishing of this book.
They're a ground feeder like their relative, the spotted towhee, and they're a very plain, dull gray-brown bird without much in the way of conspicuous markings. They resemble an overgrown, very plain sparrow. Their song is easily remembered once you learn it. It consists of a simple chink-chink note repeated at intervals of once or twice per second, ad infinitum, or sometimes run into a rapid series. The trouble is you have to get up quite early in the morning to hear much of this, because that's the time they do their declaration of territory, and then they don't seem to have to do much of it later on.
You can't sleep till 8 o'clock then?
Not with the brown towhee, no.
Well, I have here...
On page 121 we get a short paragraph introduction to the sparrow section of the guide. Something interesting I noticed is that it says that there are 90 species of sparrow in North America. That's not true at all. Today there are thought to be 35 to 50. This doesn't help us at all. I just thought it was interesting that they said there was 90 North American sparrows when not even close. On page 155 we get another huge hint that isn't immediately noticeable. On this page, we get a list of places best suited for bird populations in the United States and Canada. Instead of looking for something out of place, however, what we should be looking for is two missing things. Two pretty big missing things. On this page, every single state is listed except for Alaska and Hawaii, both of which became states 3 years after the publication of this book. I imagine that is the only hint needed for some of you to be able to determine the year that this book was published. Now I want all of you guys to go comment down below what year you think this was published, because I'm sure there's at least one thing that I brought up that could have clued you in to a certain decade at least that this was published. While I'm waiting, I want to remind you guys to go check out Atlas Pro's channel. He's a great YouTuber and I wouldn't have thought of this idea without him. And without further ado, I think I can reveal that this book was published in 1956. It's really amazing to see how much has changed since the publication of this book. From bird names to our classifications of species, it's not just a glimpse into the birds of the past, but how we saw our natural world. If you enjoyed this video, or you like nature, or birds, or any of that, please subscribe. I'm thinking about making more videos like this. Goodbye.
Do you remember how 1956 began? With Britain in the grip of the coldest weather most of us had ever known?